Hi, it's Peacein, again from the future, because it is that time of year for the Naughty or Nice quiz. I made a custom Google form to see if my viewers are actually wholesome or the absolute worst. This is an edit from last year, from 2023, but if you want to participate in this year's Naughty or Nice quiz for 2024, click the link down below in the description, and it will be open for the next week or two, that we can participate in some of our Christmas streams coming up this year. Enough for me, let's go talk to Peacein of the past. Like, comment, subscribe. We had 20 people fill it out and submit it, so thank you all who did and took the time to do so. So first, it consists of a multiple choice about morality. Have you been naughty or nice this year? So I have the results all compiled, but watch to the end to see how you guys did. I myself must take the quiz. I'm nervous. Do you think that you've been naughty or nice this year? I tried my best to be really nice this year. I've had some people burn me, some people be kind of rude online, but I tried to be nice and wholesome and civil. I did not farm any real drama this year. Have you lied this year? Maybe. I think the maybe answer is so funny. I lie if I feel like if I tell the truth, it'll hurt the person's feelings like a little bit. I think little white lies are totally fine. I think it's obvious, like if you say you never lie, then you're lying. Like everybody has lied at some point in their life. Like I think it's instinctual for like 10-year-olds and under to lie. Like when you do something bad, you lie. Did you break the vase? No I didn't. Do you pre-rinse your dishes? Yeah. No, I legit don't think there's a time where I don't pre-rinse. I also like pre-wipe down the dishes. Like if it's oily or greasy, I wipe it down with a paper towel. Because I'm the one in the house who has to wash the dishes. If I don't pre-rinse, I'm just screwing myself. Pre-rinsing is too easy to not do. You know what that reminds me of? Look up weaponized incompetence. Have you yelled at a service worker? No, I never have. I probably never will. I don't think there's ever been a circumstance in which I've had to yell in public. Like, there's been a few times where I've, like, almost been on the edge of, like yelling at someone who's almost hit me with a vehicle. But that's the only time. The only time that I will genuinely get mad is if, like, someone's in danger or, like, their safety's at risk. I don't think I'd ever yell if I got angry, because that's not helping. And if I had to yell at somebody, I would cry, and if I yelled at them, they would cry. And then we have to wipe each other's tears, and like, that's gross. So no, I've never yelled at a service worker. Do you currently volunteer? Okay, this question I worded very specifically. It's either yes, I'd like to, but I'm too busy, or you have no desire to. I have the same take as last year. I have no desire to volunteer. My personal opinion is that a lot of labor that is associated with volunteer work should be paid labor. Like people who work in shelters, people who work at food banks. If you're working there, you should be paid, because those are like government funded agencies or charity run agencies. Like if you're there all day, if you're there for more than like 3 hours a day, you should be paid to be there. And I feel like if the labor associated with the volunteer work was paid, then the general public would respect the occupation more. I've been exploited for so much of my life just working in food service and retail, and the actual volunteer work that I did. Like I was doing work that the paid employees were doing as like a minor. I promised myself I'm not ever working for free ever again, unless it's like a cause that is like genuinely good. I think the only time that volunteer work should be unpaid is if it's like a crisis emergency. Like if you're looking for a missing person, or if there was like a weather disaster, then that's whatever, because then you genuinely have to help your community. But if it's services that are offered all the time, it should be paid labor. Do you listen to music and videos with headphones or earphones, or do you play it so everyone can hear? When I was younger, I didn't have headphones, so I had to listen to stuff on speaker, but now as an adult, like I can buy headphones, I can buy earplugs. Not earplugs, earbuds. I should buy some earplugs, honestly. The city's so loud. I've kind of realized over the past year, like, how sensitive I am to sound. I also have, like, really mild tinnitus throughout the day. Like, it's not crazy, but, like, I'll get ringing sometimes. So, having headphones, it just feels more comfortable. I don't think I've ever listened to music in public without headsets in a long time. Okay, the infamous shopping cart question. Do you put your shopping cart in the rack or leave it in the parking lot? I have a little story about this one. So I was doing my morning walk as usual, and there was a guy, because there's like a grocery store like around the corner. We have a little grocery mart. So this guy, he was crossing the street, he was taking his stuff out of his shopping cart, because like he took the shopping cart from the parking lot, basically across the whole lot, and he left his cart like, not in the crosswalk, but like right outside the crosswalk. And I feel bad for the guy, because, you know, he had like 2 laundry detergent jugs and like 2 bags of groceries, so it's like valid. If you're walking home, valid. But like the cart was blocking like the corner, so like it was kind of, it would be a blind spot for pedestrians for like drivers turning. So I was like, you know, I'll just put the cart back for him. I don't care, I'll get like an extra 100 steps in. Sometimes if I have the time, I will put extra carts back in the rack, only if it's like blocking a parking spot or potentially traffic, because that's a safety thing. And I understand like the people who push carts don't necessarily work all day. I get people are lazy, but just trying to put your cart back in the rack, it's basic human like decency. So do you put your shopping cart back in the rack or leave it in the lot? I put it in the rack, and then sometimes I put extras in the rack. Like, you know, if I want to be swole, I'll push like 5 carts and I'll feel like really cool. Do you double text? Parentheses, if they don't reply within 8 hours. I had to really distinguish this part because I will very rarely double text, because in my little brain, it's so broken. I think if somebody doesn't message or text me back, then they just like hate me. I just assume if I double text, that'll make them like more mad at me. Like my friend, they didn't text me back for like a day and a half last week. And then I didn't reply back because I was like, oh, they're mad at me. They hate me. And then they texted me back like a day and a half later. They're like, oh, I thought you were ignoring me. And it's like, bruh. I just don't double text. The only time I double text is if I get worried that they're like not gonna get home. Like if they say, hey, I'm gonna go out to a party, and then they don't text me for 8 hours, I'm like, hey, are you okay? I double text a lot. Uh-oh. You need to stop, or you'll get canceled. I will cancel you if you double text too much. If someone doesn't reply to your text, do you call them? Asterisk, this does not include emergency situations. If you call somebody when they don't text you back, you need to change that behavior. I was editing last year's VOD, and I said the words crazy, insane, and psycho way too much. And I understand that those words are, like, considered ableist now, which I totally understand. It's just, I'm trying to phase it out of my vocab. Because, like, when I was editing last year's VOD, I said, like, if you call them, you're psychotic, you're crazy, you're insane. And I kept on repeating it. I was like, oh my god. You need to calm down, Peacein. Jeez. I understand if you're, like, worried about your friend or if it's family, but, like, if they don't have the time to text you back, let it sit. Let them cook. But if you're, like, genuinely scared for their well-being, then you can call. How much do you tip service workers? Keep in mind, I live in America. I have a primary American viewer base. We have a few EU people. Now, it's standard to tip in America, which I don't think it should be standard. The only reason why it's standard to tip is before, you'd only have to tip, like, food service, because depending on what state and what city you live in within the United States, you can get a less hourly wage, but you have to report all your tips. But now, it's kind of standard for, like, every single worker within a restaurant to make the same baseline hourly rate, and then get tips on top of that. So I think that's kind of why people don't necessarily like tipping now. And also, most every single establishment will have a tip option. I got a new virtual mailbox, and he had, like, the little white square card reader, and there was a tip option on it. Like, I was paying to get documents certified, and it was asking for, like, a 10% tip. Granted, the worker was really nice. He was really nice. He was the owner of the store. He was really nice. But it's like, I just paid $20 to certify documents and to open a mailbox. Like, I'm not gonna tip for that. Like, no. If there is an option to tip, I usually go cash because, you know, I don't want it to be taxed on. And my usual thing is I'll do $5 per worker. So if I'm going to like a sit-down place, I'll do like $5 per how many servers I had. And if it's like a digital tip, I try not to tip digitally, but if I feel like I need to, I usually do the middle recommended amount. Now, keep in mind, I'm a brokey. I don't have a lot of spending money. So if I ever get to a point where I can have spending money, like when I was working, I tipped the highest amount because, you know, I had money saved up. I could tip $10. But, you know, as a brokey, I usually tip the middle. Forcing someone to tip should be illegal. I agree with that. And I think the places where you see that the most is like sit-down restaurants where they're like, oh, here's a mandatory service fee. Or if you have a party larger than 5, you have to tip 10%. Have you ever donated to a charity or a GoFundMe campaign this year? Streamers and churches do not count. Streamers, because even though we're charity cases, it's still considered a business. And churches should be considered a business. Honestly, let's be honest, they do sell merch. And churches are for profit usually, like, they should not be considered non-profits anyway. I donated to a few, like, charity campaigns, like, early in the year when I had a bit more money. I did donate to a GoFundMe. I think it was Cutie Lee's aunt. She needed help paying rent because she was getting chemo, so I gave her $50. And it was like the last $50 I had in my checking account, so like I didn't have anything for 2 weeks. Because the circumstances were kind of similar to mine, to where they were trying to get government assistance, but they were in limbo, so I was like, you know, if my $50 can help her pay for food or rent for a month, then I'll do it. You know, I'll give up $50. I'll just mooch $50 off my sister to buy me like groceries that month or something. Like, I'm very much the type of person to where like I will give up most anything if I think the other person needs it more. I just genuinely hope when I'm at my lowest, people will pick me up, you know? So yes, I have donated. I think I've donated about $100, like $50 to the GoFundMe, and then probably just like throughout the year to like different charity campaigns, about 50. But if I ever get rich, I don't think... Wait, no, I should not say that. If I ever get rich, I would want to start my own nonprofit. I would want to donate to like local community organizations. Because I'd want to see the people that I'm surrounded with do better. I moved to a larger city this year, and there's so much like visible struggle that I see, and it's very sad. So if I ever get rich, I would work on establishing local ordinances and stuff. Have you helped an elderly person cross the street this year? No. I would probably not be helpful. Like, I'm not too strong anymore. And also, like, I'm really slow at crossing the street as well. Like, I might need a cane in 2 years or something. So, I'm gonna be the elderly person in 2 years. I obviously have a different perspective this year. And I know what I can and cannot do. Like, if you see people out in public, like, if you see somebody who has a walking aid, and you see them doing things on their own, at most, hold the door open for them. Because that's what you would do for everybody else. Unless they ask for help, don't give help, because if you see somebody out and about, that takes a lot of courage. Because just in general, disabled people and the elderly are somewhat ostracized. It's also a pride thing, because when you have your capabilities lessen over the years or suddenly, you kind of want to hang on to what you can or could do. So unless you see somebody genuinely struggling or doing something that they could harm themselves, then help. If not, let them be. You know, let them have that sense of independence. When you have a chance, look up ugly laws. I didn't know this. Up until the 1970s, so right after the time of desegregation, there were laws and like local city ordinances that banned disabled people from being in public. It was legislation targeted against like people who would like sit on the street and beg for money. But then they just made it basically illegal for any disabled person to be in public, like in public spaces. So like in shops, stores, in parks, on the sidewalks. So because of that, people didn't see, like the general public didn't see individuals who were disabled people in wheelchairs or who had canes. And then it was also harder for disabled people to get jobs because of that. I was looking at stats, And apparently, like, 40% of the homeless or unhoused population across the whole country is disabled. And, like, if you think about it, those laws ended in the 70s. So it's barely been 50 years, barely one generation, in which disabled people could get a job, garner wealth, and then have generational wealth. So that is my assumption as to one of the main factors as to why majority of the homeless population is disabled. And it's very unfortunate that that's reality. And it will take more decades to mend that harm that was done years ago. Damn, I could have been illegal. Dude, me too. Do you smile if you make eye contact with a stranger? Okay, it says I pre-answered it, but this was because I was testing the quiz. I smile every time because just sexism. I get scared for the one time I don't smile. It's gonna be some man being like, why aren't you smiling, bitch? And then he like punches me in the face or something. Just like the daily life of a girly. Whenever I'm in public though, I do wear a mask. The only time I don't wear a mask is if I'm on my walk because I'm not interacting with the people. I'm just like in the forest. If I'm wearing the mask, I still smile because, you know, I got very prominent smile lines. Like my eye shape, you can easily tell when I'm smiling. After answering all the above questions, do you still think you've been naughty or nice this year? I still think I've been nice. Wait, looking through, where was I bad? Okay, I didn't help an elderly person. L. Okay, I'll take the L. Okay, I'll be honest, the quiz is biased. Like, I made the quiz. So I kind of have, like, my ideal morality, and it's kind of interesting to see how you guys answered it. Talking about you guys, let's reveal how you guys performed on this year's Naughty or Nice quiz. Okay, there's a lot of slides. Question number 1. Do you think that you have been naughty or nice this year? 80% said nice. So 40 of you guys thought you were evil. What are you gonna do to redeem yourself? I better see lower numbers next year. I only want wholesome viewers. Next. Have you lied this year? I still think the best answer is maybe Peacein 2 smile. It's so good. I was gonna put maybe, but you know, I didn't want to lie. Surprisingly, nobody this year put never. Nobody never lied this year. You guys have gotten honest, and that is growth. We love that. If you need to cancel plans, do you tell the person you can't go in advance, or do you wait till the last second and flake? Surprisingly, a quarter of you guys would flake. 5 of you guys need to fix your behavior. If you're a flake, I don't think we can be friends. I know we'll never be friends, you know, I don't like parasocial relationships, but if you're gonna flake, wait, half of you guys don't watch every stream. So you guys technically flake on me every day. Man, you guys are evil. Do you pre-rinse your dishes? I was surprised by how many of you do not pre-rinse. I feel like that's standard. It's like, did your parents not yell at you when you were younger? Granted, some of you guys are still young, but it's like, come on. You're gonna come to a point in your life where you're living on your own, so like, you have to learn the little habits to make it easier for yourself. Start pre-rinsing your dishes. It doesn't matter if you're killing the earth with how much water you use, you just need to, okay? Have you ever yelled at a service worker? Surprisingly, not a lot. Only one person has yelled at a service worker. That's pretty good. 95% no, only one person yes. Only having one outlier is crazy. I love that for us. It might have been me. If you're a new viewer, you gotta be in your best behavior, okay? If you're proud of being a dick in public, don't. Do better. No, like, don't, period, do better. Like, not don't do better. Like, don't, period, and then be better. English. Do you currently volunteer? I was very surprised at this answer, because I know we have a few, like, people in school and then in college. Isn't it required for some of y'all to be volunteering and like, how does nobody volunteer? 35% want to, but they're too busy. Which I think is good, but, you know, you can make the time. Like, if you genuinely want to do something, make the time for it. And if you can't make the time, then I don't think you want to do it. And that can be applied to, like, anything. Like your passion, your hobbies, your clubs, your work. your family time and friend time. Like, if you genuinely want to do something, you can make the time. In public, do you listen to music with headphones on? Or play it so everybody can hear? 10% of you said without headphones, which I think one of them was Kobobo, because I think only recently they got headphones, that is canon lore. Okay, genuinely, every little Zoomer I see in public has headphones on. They all have their little AirPods in. I have yet to meet a person who doesn't own headphones. Do you put your shopping cart in the rack or leave it in the parking lot? This one was very interesting to me, because the majority of you are good. You put it back in the proper place, you put it back in the rack. 15% said you purposely put it in an empty parking lot spot. Why would you do that? That's a safety hazard. If there's an emergency, you could hurt someone. Stop doing that. I know it's tee-hee funny, but it's not funny when somebody gets hurt. Stop doing that. Now, I'm gonna give you Cole, personally. Do you hold the door open for others? Majority said yes, 20% said no. This question, I purposely put like a really snarky response for no. I put no, I love slamming the door in their face. I did that on purpose to see who wants to like be funny. I think it could be like some people in public like act rude because like they want to start a fight. Like you can tell when that's someone's vibe, right? So I feel like one who wants the door to slam into other people's faces wants to happen to them. That way they can start a fight. Do you double text? I am so disappointed in you guys. Majority yes? That's so bad. You guys gotta get off your cell phones. Go touch grass. Stop double texting your friends or your crush. If someone doesn't reply to your text, do you call them? But 20% of you said you do. And 20% is too high a percentage. Y'all need to calm down. Wait, does that mean... Okay, so that means hypothetically, a third of the people who double text will call after. Oh my god, do you really need to spill the tea that bad? Jesus Christ, like, come on. Y'all best be on an unlimited text and unlimited phone plan, because some of y'all are just spamming. If there is a jar with candy and there's one piece left, do you offer it to the other person or take it without asking? I was surprised by this one. 40% said they would take it first, 60% said they would ask. How much do you tip service workers? Now keep in mind, I have a good handful of EU viewers. Majority, 40% said middle, going with the crowd I see. 35% said the lowest recommended amount. 15% said the highest recommended amount. Y'all are rich. And 10% said nothing. I better hope those two people are EU frogs. If you're in the States and you don't tip, you deserve to be jailed. Or maybe you've just never worked a job in your life that thinks... I think everybody should tip, knowing how the wage disparity is and the cost of living. Because then if everybody tipped, everybody would have more money! You know how they have the square card readers and it has like the pre-suggested tip of like 5, 10, and 15%? If you're clicking the lowest tip, the person in the register can see that. Like, they're gonna hate you, they're gonna judge you. Do you believe in karma? I was genuinely really surprised with the answers on this one. 45% said yes. I don't think a lot of young people are superstitious, but I think they answered yes in the sense of how I think about karma, where it's just if you do good, people will be good back. Not in the sense of like some greater power or circumstance making things happen better for you. 40% said kind of believe in karma, and 15% said no, they don't believe in karma at all. Have you donated to charity or a GoFundMe this year? 90% said no. Are we all just brokies? Or do we not believe in charity? Y'all are just hoarding your money like Uncle Scrooge. Have you helped an elderly person cross the street? I was honestly expecting 100% no, because this is like the most cliche nice person thing you can do. You know, nice guys finish last, I help the old man cross the street so I can get a girlfriend type of thing. But surprisingly, we had a few people say yes, they did. And I hope it was like your grandparents. Like, I think approaching a rando is weird. Do you smile if you make eye contact with a stranger? A little bit of everything on this question. 10% said yes every time. 15% said no, never. Majority said often but not every time. I think it's valid to not smile every time. You know, it takes energy to move your cheeks, I guess. To think only 10% said every time, like... It's just kind of sad. Is there no more good people in the world? Final question for the Naughty or Nice Quiz 2023. After answering all the above questions, do you still think that you've been naughty or nice this year? 75% still feel like they've been nice, and 25% feel like they've been naughty. Looking at the initial first question, 80% said they felt nice. That means one person changed their mind at the very end and took the quiz and thought they were naughty. Someone did the old switcheroo. They're like, actually, I need to do some self-love and evaluate my life decisions. I was genuinely expecting the same percentage, but it's so hilarious that somebody like changed. Okay, so that was all the Naughty or Nice quiz questions we had for this year. Thank you everybody for participating. It was a lot of fun. Make sure you do it next year. See if you've been naughty or nice.